Hello, how are we doing? So, today, I'm going to have a look at the 100 to 400mm Canon. Not particularly heavy, not particularly done. There are three options when it came to picking one of these. Again, this isn't sponsored by Canon or anyone, this is just me using my equipment and talking about it and seeing, maybe helping you out down the line. But anyway, to the point, 100 to 400. Now, it was a toss-up between this, the 800 and the 600, and I was really unsure what I wanted and how things were going to use in longevity and in work. So I picked this just because it's got a bit more range across the board, you know, the fact that it can zoom out and the others don't. Although the 600 and 800 obviously give you more range, you lose a lot from the f-stop, being that they're f8 or 11 fixed. So you're adjusting your aperture and your ISO more, where this goes down to f8 and goes up a little bit more as well. So I've got a bit more play with that out of it. Quite happy with the size. It's a lot smaller, it's about the same size as the original sort of 70 to 200 sort of L lens, similar size to that, maybe a little bit shorter. Weighs considerably less and is much more easier to use. Has its autofocus and stabilizer. Let you refocus. Autofocus and stabilizer. Its zoom ring is the main one that you can see. It's got the numbers below it. It has then got its focus ring when you turn it into manual focus mode. And then you've got this settings ring that you can adjust in the settings of your camera. So I've been shooting on 100 just over on the main Bude beach. I'm loving the range of it. The 100mm on it is really nice for getting more sort of landscapey action shots, but the 400 is really nice for its range. F8's quite good. It hasn't really altered the way I think about shooting or the way it shoots in itself, so there's no. I think on the full frame it's nice. On the R10 it would be better because you'll just get that little bit more. I think the trade-off for the limit of range up against the limit of f11 consistently, where this I've now got 100mm to 400mm with, I think it's f5.6 to f8 minimum. It's just a much nicer trade-off. Yeah, so at the 400 range it's a little bit softer in terms of shooting things that are far away, so like there's an image or two just to explain what I'm talking about. But the fact that it can shoot that far, like, I don't know if you've ever been to Bude or Newquay, but at Bude in particular, I'm standing on, you've got the tidal pool here, you know, where everyone swims and things, you've got the beach, and then over this side you've got, like, it's not quite a harbour arm exactly, but you've got the rock wall that's all fallen in and the sea defence has been built around it. I'm standing over here, tidal pool's here, and they're in the bay right over like the next bay across, and you know they're still like ant-sized people in the frame, you know, they're about that big in the final photo, but the fact that I can see that far, get a nice frame and shoot from there, I thought was really quite impressive. And it's still, obviously they're not particularly, they're sharp in terms of what they are, but because they're that big in the photo, there's no actual detail that far away exactly. You know, there's enough to make out what it is and what it does, and enough to see like the lines in the shape, but there's not enough detail to be like, oh, you know, there's the skin, there's the wrinkles. But yeah, nice ranged shot away. I thought it was quite good. Close up, it takes quite nice portraits as well. You know, stick it to 135, shoot around like that, and you'll get some nice headshots as well. I don't know if you know the date or what the weather was like on in sort of Cornwall around July, start of August 2023. That dates this video, do apologise. But the weather was horrific, and I don't think this lens is particularly weather sealed. It's got like a little bits here and there, but it doesn't feel like the most, you know, acclimatised to things. It's done well. I did have a camera coat on it to keep it dry for most of the time. The front element did get a bit of a soaking now and again, so that's had to be cleaned a few times and left to dry and polished up, but it did well. It did well, considering. I definitely recommend the lens. You know, it doesn't weigh anything particularly, any more than, you know, the average sort of sized lenses that come with the R range. I do think having the 800mm would have been nice for this sort of series of images, but it wasn't a loss having this. Again, cropping in and things is easy on Photoshop, and as long as you've got the balance of the settings right, you don't lose anything in the image. Yeah, I think it works really nicely. It's definitely one I'd recommend for shooting sports of this nature. Yeah,